How are you today?
Yeah. What? Old-time bounty hunter. Real effective. Real ruthless. 50 years back, you want someone dead? You hired Winters. Now, when I was working for Burke, I got some financial records. About 40 years ago, the Burke Estate made a lot of payments to Winters. Now, it didn't say what he did to earn the money, but, well, only one thing I know Winters ever did for a career, and that was killing folks. So we killed people for the Burkes, got paid by the Burkes, probably innocent witnesses or something, since that's the family way. Now, I happen to know that he's living in some shack up by the cliffs north of Vegas. Go there, say hello, see what the old man knows. Probably some salacious shit, huh? Hopefully this guy can sink the motherfuckers.
After you. He killed people for a living, and yet some junkie with a score to settle knows his name and location. Ugh. Bounty hunters.
Evening.
Oh, good. Another stranger has come barging into my home, uninvited and unannounced. What do you want? And if you say revenge, I got a ditch out back full of bones of the last 100 idiots to give me that answer. Senator Burke? I never worked for him. First time I met him, he was a newborn. I tracked some bounties for his daddy, Carson Burke. He's been dead, what, 20 years now? Hell, I don't remember. What are you after, huh? You trying to get some kind of political dirt on him? Give me a break. If they've wronged you somehow, grab a rifle and wrong them back. Whatever, I was never paid for silence. I don't give a damn. Sure, I can tell you what I did for them. For a price. I've got one last score to settle, but my ass is past retirement. I'll be damned if I go to my grave without attending to this, but age has beat me down. Take care of it, and I'll talk all you want about my work history. Deal? Good. Now, I've killed more folks than I could ever hope to count. And 99 times out of 100, it weren't personal. Just doing my job. But this one is about as personal as it gets. See, I wasn't always alone like this. I had a wife and a son. My boy James ran himself a respectable saloon. He didn't kill folks for a living, and that was fine by me. One night I was drinking and chatting with the boy. Everything was quiet until we hear shots in the street. Ladies screaming bloody murder. James grabbed his shotgun and was out the door before I was even to my feet. I was showing my age 20 damn years ago. I hear two more shots as I get to the door. I get outside. There's James, bleeding out like a dog in the street. I got out there just in time to see this. Oh, damn. Ghoul rev up his ancient motorcycle. Off he went. Dennis Godwin. I asked around, that's his name. You kill him for me, I'll say anything you goddamn want. Just a bounty hunter, huh? Figures. May as well fade into obscurity. In my prime, I figured I was the top dog in the Mojave. Any target, no matter how ruthless or well-armed, I killed. Young punks with something to prove all came to me, looking to learn my methods or to kill me and take glory as my killer. Never worked for 'em. Tully, Alquist, Pike. They're big names in the business because they're emulating me. Assuming they ain't fading into obscurity too. Joe, he was an odd one. I'll say that much. Too mercurial to be a professional, and too good at his job to be anything else. Man sure was angry, that's for sure. He could break the bank at every casino on the strip and still find something to be irritable about. Last I heard, he was trying to set up his own business, offered me a place, but I told him I'm closer to 80th than 70. My killing days are done. Could do worse for yourself, I'd reckon. Joe never struck me as a greedy sort. I figure he'd pay a fair wage for a job well done. Laszlo Pike, Mr. Aviators. That boy was all business. He mostly came to me for advice on getting the good contracts. Not anything about killing. He weren't much of a hunter. He preferred to wait for his targets to come to him. He'd set up ambushes, let his targets walk into the explosives he rigged up. If any of them survived, Pike and his boys opened up with the automatics. I guess it's one way to do it, sure. Whatever it takes to do the job. Shit, I got him into business. Taught him how to operate, didn't I? I was in my prime, and he was just getting started. so he wanted advice. He was a bit arrogant, always smirking like he knew something we didn't. Still, the boy was a natural shootist, and pretty good with a blade. He always had a bit of ice in his blood, I recall. Some folks would go out of their way to bring their targets alive. Caleb would only ask once. Wasn't too surprised in the direction he went. After what happened to him, everyone has a breaking point, and he wasn't the suicidal type. He had a wife, Jenny, real pretty girl, big brown eyes, quick too. She was about as sharp as they come, easy to see. Before too long, they had a daughter too. Problem was, well, like I said, he was arrogant. He liked to show Jenny off, flaunt how good he had it. You get yourself into the murder-for-hire trade. Eventually, someone will come looking for payback. As Caleb learned to his sorrow, a couple slavers he made destitute came calling, shot up his home. He didn't get hit, but Jenny died in his arms. He buried her, then he buried the slavers. Then he said he was in no position to raise a kid. Gave his girl to his brother after I refused. After that, I stopped seeing him around much. Got himself a reputation for taking high-risk jobs with ruthless efficiency. I know that shit that went down in Brighton shocked quite a few people. But I saw the writing on the wall pretty much as soon as Jenny died. He said he didn't want her to be hurt by his work like her ma was. Said he was nothing more than a killer. Weren't fit to raise that girl. I'm sure he'd still say so if you asked him, but I think keeping her around hurt him too much. She was a constant reminder of his loss, you know. See, that poor girl was the spitting image of her mother. Men specific, or are you generalizing? Either way, it's a damn high number. More men than women, for sure, although the gap between those two numbers is narrower than you might expect. Despite how many of them are rapers, seems like most outlaw bands aren't too discriminatory with their hiring policies. Weird, but whatever. As to your original question, fuck if I know. Number's too high to keep track of. And that was before my decrepit ass started going senile. I was a couple years away from retirement when that motherfucker killed my boy. I was already getting slow, and I couldn't catch up. And he may as well have been a ghost. Nobody knew anything more than his name at most. No contacts, no friends, no hometown. Just a trail of bodies. It's ridiculous. Now that I'm almost 80, I finally know where he is, and I can't get there. It's too far. I'm done. I'll never catch him. Best I can do is to see to it that he's down in hell, waiting for me to arrive. I'll be there soon enough. Yup.
and outward. Commencing lawful use of deadly force.
Target spot. Spotted.
Hostile target identified. For your safety, please cover until the lawbreaker is dealt with. Multiple failures detected. Violence will not be tolerated. Multiple failures detected.
We are not alone. I do this for a living. You have. You're going to strike.
Target spotted.
Seems I'm really taking my time with you.
You went through a lot of trouble to get in here. So, persistent scavenger? Or are you here for me? Paul Winters? I don't know who the fuck that is. Someone I've wronged, clearly. Not surprising. I've killed many people. Some of them had friends or family. I've been around since before the war, kid. Everything. Everyone I ever cared for is dead. Been dead for goddamn centuries. Am I an indiscriminate murderer? Yeah, I guess I am. I don't give a shit. I don't kill people out of some deep personal animosity. I kill them because I don't care. Because they were an obstacle. Because they had something they didn't want to part with. Because it was convenient. We're all just going through the motions, ain't we? Me, my wife, our 3 girls. We didn't live in the city. We lived a few miles out. We weren't in the blast radius, but we were close enough. My wife and I did everything we could, but seeing our girls, their hair falling out, their gums bleeding, it was hell. My wife was the first to die. She hanged herself. So, I put my daughters out of their misery. We were all suffering, so I had to end it. After that was dealt with, I shot myself in the head. And then I woke up. Somehow, I botched my own suicide with a magnum to my fucking skull. I crawled into the desert, figured something out there would kill me soon enough, but it just never happened. And here I am. 200 years later. I don't give a goddamn what other people choose to do with themselves. I lost everything. Everything that mattered to me, gone. And for what? I survived the rats. The process was agony. But I pulled through and stood on the other side. What if my girls would have done the same? What if I didn't put them out of their misery? What if I just murdered my daughters for nothing? So to be clear, whoever the fuck your friend Winters is, I don't care. I don't care about him or whoever it was that I killed. And I don't care about you neither. And you know what? I'm tired of talking. Come on and die already.
Personal tragedy, and so I'm justified in my psychotic behavior. That's a tired old excuse.
outward.
You're back, and somehow I haven't dropped dead since the last time we spoke. You did? Then, that's it. I've outlived all my enemies. If anyone out there still wants me dead, I don't know who they are. I've been alive for a long time. I've done more than my share of awful things. To think that, after all of that, I'd outlast them all. The insanity. Well, a deal's a deal. Anything I did for the Burke Estate, I'll tell you. What do you want to know? Guess you'd call it a hitman. Not really any different than my usual bounty hunter work, except these guys weren't wanted by the law. And to be clear, I didn't do any work for the Burke Estate. I did work for one man, Carson Burke, the senator's daddy. I killed business rivals, untrustworthy employees, scorned mistresses. Carson weren't into politics like his boy. Oh, yeah. See, I wasn't ever in Carson's inner circle. He had himself a little elite squad of killers and thugs answered only to him. They generally handled internal business for the family. I was mostly kept on retainer to deal with issues that needed some plausible deniability. But on the rare occasion that one of his private security people got cold feet, someone outside the security team would have to take him out. Otherwise, they could run and squeal about whatever shady business they were doing on behalf of the boss. They knew things no one else did. As the nut jobs across the river might say, quis custodiet ipsos custodes. What, are you kidding me? Hell yes, he had mistresses, tons of them. He and his wife hated each other. They had 2 sons, Henry and Tobias. And other than that, they avoided one another whenever possible. So Carson got his fill from local girls. Now, he didn't like professional whores. He liked to turn respectable girls into whores. Socialites, entertainers, the daughters of other dynasties. He'd offer them so much cash they couldn't imagine turning him down. And once he'd had a woman, he'd only have her but that one time. Afterwards, he'd have thrown them out on their asses. And if any of them start talking about what a wretched man he was, how he couldn't get away with treating them like that, well, the world's a violent place. Hard to see it coming if you're the victim of, say, mugging gone wrong, for one example. All for the sake of the Burke Brahmin Empire. That's where most of the family's money comes from. They ain't the biggest Brahmin family in California, but they're up there, top 5 at least. Carson was very selective with his targets, even if he wasn't personally in politics. He had the ear of a lot of important government types. If a Brahmin baron in his neck of the woods was supporting the wrong political factions, Burke gave me the green light. Once the head of the family suffered some accident in some kind of way, Burke would buy up their assets for himself. He got richer, the opposing political bloc got weaker, and I got paid. And that was the bit that mattered to me. Now, most of those folks weren't guilty, nothing more than being in the way. I don't really have any qualms about killing them, but... well, if you're looking for dirt on the Burkes, there you go. Their former patriarch loved him some assassinations. Yep, that I did. It never really bothered me none. I figured we're all going to die someday. Life has a way of collecting on those debts. Took my own innocent boy getting himself killed for me to realize what sort of man I was. Still am, I guess. I can't take none of it back. Like I said, take on a debt like that, one way or another, it's gonna come back to bite you in the ass. Always does. Keep that in mind, kid. Yup.